Hey everybody, it's Tori Poulter, Chief Sales Officer for Unique. Welcome to the next Rockin' Your Business call. We are excited to have two beautiful presenters who you have nominated to discuss the next topic with us. These are women who are just exemplary at the topic that we provided to you and outlined for you. Let me start off by just giving you a quick recap of what this call is all about in case you are joining for the first time or maybe just want a refresher. Once a month, we post a request for nominations. It's called Rockin' Your Business. We then take those nominations and we build it into a training call, which is what we're doing right now. We ask you to nominate presenters who are rocking their business. And so thank you for your continued enthusiasm and participation of this monthly call. Next month, we'll post a different topic and ask you to then, again, nominate presenters. And then we select two presenters, one or two, in this case two, who were highly nominated to join us on the call. So here we are. The topic that we're talking about today is presenters who are good at running creative campaigns. And basically, in general, making their business memorable, doing things that are different, doing things that are special, and doing things that make their business memorable. I do want to say, one of the very first things that we addressed in one of the first calls was marketing yourself. And of course that really bleeds into this topic, but this topic is a little bit different in that it is marketing your business and marketing your campaign successfully. And we liked, the Welcome Back campaign, the 12 Lips of Christmas. They were all so successful corporately. Flawless 4, which is something that you all did out in the field. Welcome Back Gorgeous is an example of a successful presenter campaign that we really wanted to spend a call dissecting it and finding out what presenters do, versus something that's just very generic, like a buy 3 get 1 type of thing. So as you can see the difference, there's so much creativity that goes into this. With that, I would like to introduce our two presenters. We have two beautiful women here to talk to you, Kristin Blumetti and Kara Lewis-Newton. So I think Kristin is going to go first, and I'd like to just tell you a little bit about her. She is from Gilbert, Arizona. Kristin is a Blue status presenter. She is a wife and mother. And one thing that we found out that apparently she didn't even realize is that today is her 1-year anniversary of joining Unique. She joined Unique in January of 2014, exactly 1 year today. So happy anniversary, Kristin. It just really is a wonderful testament to what you can do in a very short amount of time to absolutely become such a position in such a position of leadership. That your fellow presenters would recognize you as someone who has really been a strong business leader. Another wonderful thing that we found out about Kristin that I would also like to mention in our mission to uplift, empower, and validate, Kristin is actually planning her third mission trip to Haiti to help build buildings for an orphanage, and that is so honorable and so uplifting that those are the types of things that we really love to celebrate here at Unique. So with that, Kristin, I am going to turn it over to you. Kristin is going to spend about 10 minutes talking about some of the ideas and things that she has done to make her business memorable. So are you there, Kristin?
I am.
Terrific. We'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tori. Thank you for the kind words, too. So when I came back from convention last year, what really changed for me in the way that I was running my business is starting to run these campaigns. I was inspired by so many other women that were doing similar things, and I came home and really started to think about how I could incorporate that in my business. So that's really what was a turning point for me in my business. And a few of my favorite campaigns that I've run I'd like to talk about. One of the first ones I did after I got back from convention was my Halloween looks campaign. And I didn't even really announce it as a campaign. I posted on my page just asking people what they were planning on being for Halloween. And once I got several, like 5 or 7 comments back, I started coming up with Halloween looks to go with each one of these costumes that people were coming up with. And I tried to pick the ones that were going to look the most ridiculous, because I think in order to make things memorable, you really have to catch people's attention. So I did an R2-D2 where I had a full face of, I used some of our metallic pigments and applied them wet on my entire face to make myself look like a droid. I did steampunk, I did a totally 80s look, a vampire look, among others. And then every couple of days I would post a video tutorial on how I achieved each look, and sharing with everyone, especially tagging the people that said that's what they were going to dress up as for Halloween. And it caused a ton of feedback, and people just seemed to love it and really hook onto it. And it wasn't salesy at all. It was just fun, and it was highlighting our products that are amazing. A couple other campaigns that I ran, one of my favorites was One of These Things Is Not Like the Other. And these were just photos. These I actually didn't do videos for, but I posted 2 selfies side by side that were identical. I had my makeup done exactly the same in each selfie except for one product. For example, I did the white eyeliner, the pristine eyeliner on the waterline in one picture, and the other picture did not. In one picture I had lined my brows, in the other picture I had not. In one picture I had done a very quick contour with a bronzer, and the other I had not. And obviously I did one with the 3D Fiber Lashes Plus as well. And again, it was just something to catch people's eye, and they had so much fun trying to figure out what one product was different in each picture. And it helps them to realize what a huge difference these little things can have in their look. I've also done an eye color of the day where I literally just went through every eye color in the palettes, every single splurge cream shadow, put on a different one every day by itself, and posted a selfie. I got so many people messaging me, oh, what was that color you posted last week? It was like a shimmery green, and then I'd go back and help them pick the colors that they loved. One of my most successful was a holiday gifting series where I did videos focusing on neutrals for people to give as gifts. I also encouraged them to purchase the sets and collections, and that way they could break them up and save some money and have multiple gifts, or even keep some for themselves. And my most recent campaign that I'm working on putting out right now is the 5 Loves of My Life. And I think what I like about this one is I'm going to focus on my 5 favorite must-have items. And I'm going to be totally honest. If I had to leave the house with only 5 products on my face, I'm going to highlight those 5 items. So for me, that's powder, the pressed powder, moisturizer. Of course, I can't leave my house without it. I'm going to highlight a palette because I need some color on my eyes. Lip gloss, I don't leave home without at least 3 lip glosses in my purse. And of course, our 3D Fiber Lashes Plus mascara. So if you'll notice, all of those items are also in our Essentials collection. So I try to tie all of my series in with different collections in different ways that my customers can save money, because they do appreciate that. So those are some of my favorite campaigns that I've run, and I feel like what's made them all successful is that I am totally myself in them. I put myself out there. Even the silliest ideas that I have are usually the most memorable. I try to post videos of me wearing ridiculous things. I even did one video for a mystery hostess campaign that I did where I literally wrapped a scarf around my head and my entire face was covered except for my eyes for the entire video. Now, you better believe that everybody commented on that video. That really caught everyone's attention. So I thought it was going to look ridiculous, and it probably did, but it made people pay attention and it made them remember me. So for every campaign, I try to be real. I try to be myself. I try to do something that's going to catch their attention. Another thing I like to do is think about what is already on people's minds. You know, obviously the 5 Loves of My Life, I kind of am tying in with Valentine's Day that's coming up. I'm trying to kind of think about some way to tie in the Super Bowl as well. You just want to think of things and take advantage of marketing that's already out there. People are thinking about the Super Bowl, people are thinking about Valentine's Day, and tie that into something with yourself. The other thing I think that was a big turning point for me in general was when I started owning my own business, basically. You know, in the beginning, there are so many amazing presenters. They're beautiful. They have creative ideas, and I'm so inspired by them. But I was very tempted, and in the beginning I was doing this, just sharing everything they did, sharing their videos, sharing their pictures. And those are great. However, I realized that in order for my business to be memorable and my campaigns to work for my customers, I had to take those ideas from the other presenters that inspired me and make them my own and own them. So even though I may have taken an idea from another presenter, I have to change it up, make it my own, word it the way that I would word it, tie it in with my life and my business, and present it to my customers, coming specifically from me to make it personal to them. So I think what's worked the most for me and why, again, since that turning point after I got back from convention, was being consistent. I post every day, even when I feel like no one's watching. And in fact, the times when I feel like no one's watching the most are the times when I will all of a sudden start getting random messages from friends I haven't talked to in years, people I didn't even think were on my Facebook, and asking me questions about videos they've seen, even from months prior. So staying consistent, being yourself, being real, taking inspiration from other presenters, but making it your own and owning it, and just putting yourself out there. Use pictures of yourself, videos of yourself, no matter how scary that is. You're just not going to grow unless you kind of stand on that ledge of being a little bit scared. So don't be afraid to try all of your ideas, no matter how silly you think they are. Usually the silly ones are the most memorable ones.
Fantastic. Such great points in there. I don't know who started that books, if it was actually you, Kristin, but I could not believe how creative our organization, our company got around Halloween. And I, just using our different products to create different things, I was pretty blown away. I was still pretty early in the company when I started seeing all these, and I don't remember seeing R2-D2, but I probably did at some point, and just couldn't believe the creativity. Yeah, love that part of it. We're going to move on to Kara Lewis-Newton. And Kara is also a wife and mother. Kara has 3 children. She's from Fishers, Indiana. She's been with Unique since July of 2014. And when I saw Kara, was it in Chicago? I think it was in Chicago that I saw her, and I had seen her videos, and you said something to the effect that I'm purple, but next time you see me, I'm going to be black. And you hit black like the next month or something like that, which was absolutely fantastic. And that was so memorable. I definitely remember that. So she has been black, I believe it's since November, right, Kara?
That's correct.
Yeah, and is a face that you will all certainly recognize, because she is one of our most recognizable presenters because of what she has done to market both herself and her business. So Kara, we'll turn it over to you to talk about the different things that you do that are successful.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for having me on this call. I'm excited. Last year at convention, I taught a class on using creativity to engage and connect with your customers. And I introduced the idea of creating series in your customer-based groups on Facebook. And this has probably been the topic that I get the most messages and the most questions about. But it's also the topic I'm most excited to talk about, so I am glad to be here today. I did my first series about 3 months after joining Unique. I wanted a way to keep my customers engaged and still present them with new content about the product. So in essence, I wanted a place for my continual customer base to remember me as their makeup girl, as that group continued to grow. And so I came up with the idea of doing, in essence, really just a new party rather than our basic lash bash or beauty bash that we run for our hostesses. I came up with a new party called Junk to Spunk. That was my very first series, and the idea behind that was to get rid of your junk and get back your spunk with the top 5 products everyone needs. And so all I did was highlight what I thought were the top 5 products that would give you back your spunk. I ran it like a party in my customer group, which was my original launch party. So there were my people in there and a few new customers, and it went fabulous. They loved it. And so I started doing these new series about every 6 to 8 weeks in that group. I've done different ones like Turn Up the Heat, Get Your Summer Face On, Tricks of the Trade, my favorite makeup secrets, If You Give a Girl a Mascara, which was kind of a spoof on the children's book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. I did one in July called Meet Kit, and this was a lesson on our presenters kit. And I just continually add new customers to this group, but my previous customers also stay in there, and they stay engaged, and they learn something new with each series that I do. With everyone, I try to have some kind of underlying message that they'll take away from this series. And in September, I ran a series called No Peaking. My idea was that our culture teaches women eventually that we will peak in our physical beauty. And this series was about coming together and being able to say no to peaking. I showed them different looks with our new products to help them feel more confident as we age and as we go about our day and just feeling beautiful. And I showed them how to get different looks, how to make your eyes look younger and your skin look younger. And we committed as a group to believing that beauty really does last a lifetime. This series to that date was my most successful party. It topped out at around $4,000. And so then 8 weeks later, I was a little hesitant to run another series, knowing that my customers had just spent so much money on that No Peaking series. But it was Christmas, and I knew I needed to do something, some kind of a thing to grab their attention and get them in. And so I came up with another series called Naughty and Nice. And the ladies were encouraged to buy a gift for someone they love and be nice, but also to be a little naughty and buy something for themselves. But to really make this series pop and catch their attention, I also gifted each lady who purchased a Christmas gift with a flash drive that I created that had exclusive makeup tutorials from me that they could give with their gift. This was not only to engage my customer, but to also connect with that new customer that I might not otherwise have been able to connect with and get them into my beauty group. It went better than I could have ever expected. And the Naughty and Nice series became my largest series to date with over $4,000 in sales. And one of my customers, because I always run my series as a mystery hostess party, one of my customers won over $600 in hostess rewards. And so, when I thought about what makes these series memorable, well, giving someone $600 in rewards obviously makes something memorable. But my customers always look forward to these series. They're always looking for the next thing that I'm going to do. I create new videos, new tutorials, new pictures for each series. I also build them up in the weeks prior. So I'm getting ready to do a new series at the very end of January going into February. And I've already started making posts, building the anticipation for my makeup and math series that's coming in February. They're already getting excited. They're already asking me about it. They know, they're expecting that somebody's going to win some money to spend on the website. And that is a big thing that makes it memorable, being able to give away the rewards. I was able to give away over $3,000 in hostess rewards last year. And so you better believe that they remember my group. I never spam this group with graphics, ever. I never, ever, ever use a graphic. I always use pictures of me, videos of me, and people that I know. I use humor. I incorporate my everyday life into this group. I make sure that I stick to the topic, though. I stick to the fact that this is my beauty group, and so we're going to talk about makeup and all things that make me feel beautiful. My kids are great. My house is great. The things that I do in my everyday life are fabulous, and that is wonderful for my Facebook wall. But for this group, not to confuse the customer about what it's about, we stick to that topic, the topic of beauty and unique. And I think the reason that this has worked so well for me is by far number one would be the videos. The people in this group, I now have about 1,200 women in my customer base group, and they really do feel connected to me. They feel like they know me. They will post things in that group and say, this reminded me of you. And we've never actually met face to face, but they feel that they know me well enough that something they see online actually reminds them of me. They love it. They request more all the time. There's nothing too crazy that I won't try. So my videos can be quite ridiculous. So I think one way that I connect with them is by allowing them to laugh at me, not just with me. And so that has worked really well. And so my advice to other presenters that are really trying to build their customer groups and to create memorable experiences is to be you. And if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that that's my #1 thing. You can recreate what I've done, but it probably won't work because it's not you. You have to be you. You have to let them feel like they're a part of this with you. And that has been huge in my customer group, is that they have walked this road with me. They felt like they were a part of when I hit Black status. That feeling of being a part of this with me creates loyalty. And because of the amount of creativity, the amount of time, the amount of energy that I put into this group, they stay loyal to me. And I become their makeup girl. They feel like I listen to them, they feel entertained by me, and they feel educated by me. And so they always come back and they continue to order from me. So I think if you have those 3 components, they feel listened to, they feel entertained, and they feel educated, you'll keep those customers and you will be memorable in their eyes when it comes to unique.
There are so many things that both of you said that I love so much. I want to go back through and point out just a couple of my favorites. Well, thank you, Kara, first of all. Kristin, you talked about something that I think is so genius. And when you were talking about campaigns that you have run, and I already mentioned how fun I thought the Halloween campaign was, but it was that you do something to catch people's attention, which I think a lot of us do, right? A lot of presenters do, but here's where I thought the genius came in, is that then you go through and you understand the sales angle to the whole thing without being salesy. So you take something that is so creative and then you transition it in a very smart way into actually selling things, because creativity is really only gets us to our outcome that gets us to our desired outcome, which is actually selling our products. So I loved that you tied those in together in what you called without being salesy, because the two are really critical components. So I loved that. There are a couple of themes that you both talked about, but let me first talk about then something that Kara brought up. Actually, 2 things I want to address that Kara brought up. One is your series, your video series, which I love how you talked about doing it because it keeps your customers engaged. And the video series is what I think is so genius. So love those examples of what you've done and what you've been able to achieve by it. The second idea that I really liked is, you talked about beauty lasts a lifetime, and then you were really hesitant to run it because you had such a high sales that came out of successful dollar volume that came out of that party that you were really hesitant to go and do another one back to back. And you did it because it was the holidays. But here's what you said that I thought was so genius. You made an assumption that, and then corrected yourself, right? You made an assumption that your customers were out of money to spend. And I think that that's something, and so thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's something that we're all guilty of. We make assumptions about what the spending power or spending ability of our customers is. And that is something that I think in the beauty industry, like you all know, if you put yourself into these shoes, if it's time for you to get your roots done, you're going to figure out how to come up with the funds, right? You might go without groceries for a week, but you're going to figure out how you might ride a bike instead of putting gas in your car. But it's the truth. And our industry is a little bit unique. So everything in beauty is really honestly about creating a need that you didn't know existed. And I'll give you one example, brow gel. If you would have told me a year ago that I could not live without brow gel, I would have gone, what's brow gel? I have no idea what that is. But then we created this need, and now I cannot walk out of the house without using my brow gel. creating a need that your customer did not know existed. And I think that what you talked about was a wonderful example of that do not make assumptions of what your customer will or won't do. Let them decide for themselves. So I love that. And then a couple of themes that you both had that I thought were also noteworthy of talking about. You both talked about putting yourself out there. You both talked about the need of being yourself. And until you do that, you will never really realize where you can take your own business. So that was terrific. And then the other thing that you both talked about that I also loved is being inspired by what other people do, right? But don't share their stuff. You have to be inspired by what they do, but then you have to make it your own. Otherwise, you're selling them. You're not selling yourself. So that was fantastic. I love that. And here's what I'll have to say about that. I think that we're all a little bit, if you take a direct idea of someone else, you think, are they going to be upset? But, you know, this company, more than any company I've been involved with, is a community of women who genuinely want each other to succeed. We want each other to succeed. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And I don't know any presenters that will say, oh, no, that's my idea, I don't want you to use that. It's quite the contrary. So don't forget that we genuinely want each other to be successful in this organization. So with that, we've gone about 30 minutes, which is the time that we like to go to make sure that we're giving you meaningful information. Kara and Kristin, both, thank you so much for the impact that you have had on your fellow presenters, as well as being able to share what are such creative and smart ideas. With that, we will sign off, and until next month, get ready for us in about a week or so to post the next idea, where we are asking you to nominate your fellow presenters when it comes to rocking their business. So we'll sign off for right now. Have a wonderful day.